Reading and listening is the best way to become fluent fast, and that's what you'll do in this lesson. We'll read a health article on the topic of relationship burnout. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Our headline, are you experiencing relationship burnout? What to do next? So as you can see, this is in question form. Are you experiencing? Now, are is because the verb is in the present continuous. So you have your verb to be conjugated with the subject. And then in the present continuous, we have our verb in ing. Because this is an action in progress now, but they're asking if you have this or if you don't have this. And this is burnout. Specifically, relationship burnout. Do you know what burnout is? In this form, it's a noun, but it's also commonly used as a verb, a phrasal verb. Burn is the main verb conjugated, and then out is the preposition. We will review that when we see it in the article. And in case you're not sure, because it's the most important part of this article, burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion. So extreme tiredness or fatigue, and is caused by prolonged stress. So that's stress that has happened over a longer period of time, not for a short period of time. Prolonged stress or overwork. So notice you have work, but then you have over in front of it, means that there's too much. So it sounds negative to say overwork. Now, remember, the headline was asking a question. So to answer the question, you can say, yes, I'm experiencing relationship burnout. The question was in the present continuous. So your answer can be in the present continuous too. No, I'm not experiencing it. So to make it negative. Now, although the question used the verb experience, you can use other verbs in your response. And we use the verb to have. You can have stress. For example, you can have burnout. Burnout is a noun. It's a something. And remember that certain verbs in English are stative verbs, so they do not go in the ing form. Experiencing you can have in the ing form, but have you would have as a stative verb. Yes, I have relationship burnout. This is a noun, just like you would say, yes, I have a car. Or no, I don't have it. So you can replace relationship burnout with it because it's obvious based on context. Don't worry about taking these notes. I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Our headline altogether, are you experiencing relationship burnout? Question form. What to do next? Statement. So they'll tell us. Let's start reading. Do you walk around resenting your partner? So notice they're asking a question, do you, and then do something. So the do is walk around, walk around. So if you just use the verb walk, I walk every day, it sounds like a specific activity. Walk around, it means if you exist in life. So if you just spend your time and then doing something, do you walk around resenting your partner? So said another way, do you frequently, do you commonly, as a part of your regular routine, do you resent your partner? Do you know what this verb means? The verb is resent. Notice it's not resent. It's not with an S like you see here. This is sent, sent, but this verb is resent. Z. It's a voiced sound. Repeat after me, resent. And then we'll put it in the continuous as well. Resenting, resenting. Now that you know the pronunciation, resent, resenting, the meaning is, do you walk around feeling angry or feeling hurt because you feel that something is unfair or unresolved? Maybe you do more work or you feel like you're not appreciated, you're not getting the attention that you want. And that's the general feeling. So they're asking, do you? Do you walk around resenting your partner? Do you dread, again, another question, do you dread coming home from work as much as, if not more than, going to work? Okay, so remember that if you see information between two commas, you can remove that information grammatically. So we could say, do you dread coming home from work as much as going to work? And notice this structure, as much as. Many students forget that much has to be surrounded by as much as, going to work. So it's saying to the same degree, you dread going to work, you dread coming home from work. Maybe it's a 5 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, 3 out of 10, whatever that number is, it's the same. But do you know what dread means? Notice that pronunciation? Dread, ed, like bread, dread. To dread something, in this case, the something is coming home from work, means that you feel fear, anxiety, or just a negative emotion similar to those about something in the future. So there has to be a specific future action. In this case, coming home from work. So you think about it and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. Now, you may have that reaction when you think about giving a presentation in English. You can use this in the present continuous. I'm dreading giving that presentation. Oh, what if I make a mistake? What if I forget my words? It's a normal emotion. Native speakers feel it too. Hopefully you're thinking though, I was dreading it being giving that presentation or taking my IELTS, whatever that future action is. I was dreading it until I started learning English with Jennifer, because you improved your English, you gained the confidence to give that presentation. So now you're not dreading it anymore. If that describes you, you're not dreading it anymore. Put that's right, put that's right in the comments. Another question, are you too tired for date night? Ooh, so date night is an occasion where you and your partner, even if you've been married for 10 years, you and your partner go out on a date. What's a date? Well, your classic date is dinner and a movie, right? But you can do anything. You can go out for coffee, you can go bowling, go for a walk in the park, whatever it is. Too tired for date night. Now, date night is a noun, and notice that preposition. We have for date night because you have for plus noun. This is a mistake I hear some students make because there's another common structure, which is too tired to do something. So in that case, you might say, are you too tired to, and then we need the verb that would go with the noun, to have date night, to have date night. So you could say that as well, but for plus noun, for date night. When you think of the future, another question, when you think of the future, does it feel like it's just going to be more of the same? So that could be why you dread coming home, because it's more of the same. But it's negative because you're resenting your partner. You're walking around resenting your partner.
Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson.
Those can all be signs of relationship burnout. Now, those represents the questions
that you were just asked. So if you answered yes to any of these, it could be a sign of relationship burnout. And it's possible you've got it. Notice it's just possible. So this doesn't mean it's certain, because then they wouldn't use the word possible. It's also possible you don't have it. So keep that in mind if you did say yes to any of those questions. Now, this structure, you have got it. You could also just say you have it. Because remember, in the question up here, I mentioned you can have burnout. So that's that structure here. You've got it. Or again, you can simply say it's possible you have it. But remember, it's also possible you don't have it. It's possible you have it. It being what? Relationship burnout, of course. Let's continue. Most therapists deal with patients who are either burned out or burning out. Remember, I explained that burnout can be a noun, which it is here. And as a noun, it just means that it's talking about it as a something. I have a car. That's a something, right? I have burnout. That's a something. But as the verb, you're referring to it as an action, who are either burned out or burning out. So the difference being that this is a completed action. They are burned out. Okay. So in that case, it's to be. Your verb is to be. And then burned actually functions as the adjective, burned out. You'll notice that I'm pronouncing this as a soft D because that's American English pronunciation. In British pronunciation is pronounced as a soft T, burnt out, burnt out. Burnt out, burned out. Both of them are correct. So if you're already pronouncing it one way, just keep doing it that way. But it has to be a soft D or a soft T. Burned out, burnt out. And as the verb to be burned out, remember your verb that you conjugate is to be. I was burned out. This means that you feel completely exhausted. Again, because prolonged exhaustion or stress or overwhelm. So someone might say, stop overstudying. You're going to burn out. Because again, your phrasal verb is burn out. In this case, it's in the present continuous. It's taking place now. Stop overstudying. And remember when I said, if you add over to the verb studying, it makes the verb sound negative. You're doing too much of it. Simply studying doesn't sound negative. So if someone says stop studying, it doesn't mean you're doing too much of it. Maybe it's just time to have dinner or do something else. But overstudying, you're studying too much. So I'll write that there for you. You're studying too much. So here they actually explain what it means to be either burned out or burning out. So to have that current state now, or you're in progress. So exhausted, stressed, feeling cynical. Cynical just means you're overly negative about everything. Your friend says, oh, wow, isn't a beautiful day today? And you might say, well, it'll probably rain this afternoon, or, oh, it's too hot, I'm sweating, or, well, there are so many bugs. So you find something to be negative about, or you're just very negative when you think about anything happening in the future. That would be cynical. So feeling cynical and even indifferent. Indifferent is more of a lack of any emotion. So you're not overly positive. You're not overly negative. You're just like, I don't care. You're just indifferent. But that can be a very negative thing because you don't have the energy to feel one way or the other. So it can be a result of exhaustion or stress or overwhelm where you feel indifferent. As a couples therapist, I'm increasingly seeing clients who are experiencing relationship burnout. Now, I like this introduction. As a, and this is a job title. So if someone asks you, oh, what do you do? I'm a therapist. What type of therapist? A therapist who treats couples. A couple is two people in a relationship. Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. They're a couple in a romantic relationship. So you wouldn't refer to two friends or two roommates, siblings as a couple. It has to be romantic relationship. So this is a therapist who treats or who sees couples. As a couples therapist, and then we have your subject, verb, and the rest of the sentence. So this introduces the sentence. This is a very advanced expression, and it will make you sound very fluent and professional if you use it. You can say, I'm open to exploring any and all work opportunities. If you're open to doing something, notice that verb and ing, and it's to be open to, verb and ing. It means you're willing to. I'm willing to explore. I'm open to exploring any and all work opportunities. Now, you can give this context, which is more information, by including as a recent graduate or whatever it might be. So as a, and then you can add the information that describes you or describes the situation. As a couples therapist, I'm increasingly seeing clients who are experiencing relationship burnout. So again, you can experience in the ing form, present continuous, or you can have, who have relationship burnout. Have would not be in the ing form because it's a state of verb. Now, thinking of state of verbs, are you confused that this is in the ing form? Because you may have learned that you just see something. I see some birds in the tree. You wouldn't say, I'm seeing some birds in the tree. You just see something, and that's correct. But this see is not used in the same meaning. It has a different meaning. If a therapist is seeing students, this is another form of saying treating. I said students, I meant clients. I see students. Therapists see clients. So it's another way of saying treating. I'm increasingly treating clients. Treating clients. Now, in a relationship context, we commonly say, are you seeing anyone? So if you haven't seen a friend for a long time and your friend is single, not in a relationship, you can say to that friend, so are you seeing anyone? Are you seeing anyone? And it means, are you in a romantic relationship with anyone? And then your friend can reply back and say, actually, yeah, I've been seeing this guy for a couple of weeks and it's going great. So I've been seeing is another way of saying we've been spending time together. We've been dating. But once it gets serious, you would just say he's my boyfriend or she's my partner, for example. But at the beginning stages, this seeing means, are you dating anyone? Are you dating anyone? Let's continue. When I talk to couples, remember, this is the therapist, the couples therapist. When I talk to couples, so now we know that one couple is two people in a relationship. Okay. So if you have couples with the plural, it means we have one group of two people, one group of two people, one group of two people. And then all of those three groups, those would be couples. So you could say three couples. When I talk to couples, many don't understand that they can get burned out. So in this case, we know that burned out, this is the phrasal verb, right? But it's in this structure, to be burned out, where burned is actually the adjective form. It describes the state of being. So that's why we have the verb to be. So this is the main verb. that you would conjugate. So it's the same thing here. Now, get in the sense of become. Become. So this is used to talk about the transition from not burned out, so not emotionally or physically exhausted, so feeling fine, to burned out. So it's that transition from everything's great to everything's terrible. It's that transition. Can get burned out from their relationships the same as they can from their jobs. The same as they can get burned out from their jobs. So they're making the comparison because most people, when they hear the expression burnout, which would be the noun, or burned out, oh, I'm burned out. Let's talk about burnout. That would be the noun. More people are burning out. That's the verb form. When we hear that, it's generally because of work. So this is a relatively different thing to think about it in terms of your relationship. Oh, really? People might be surprised. They understand that can happen from their jobs, but it isn't a common thing to hear people talk about burnout in relationships. So this article is also trying to bring light to the topic. So bring awareness. That's what I mean by light. Bring awareness to the topic. Let's continue. And just as you can recover from burnout, so what's this form? Well, there are two clues. First, it's the sentence structure. So grammatically, we know what we need, but also it's the spelling because the one word is the noun form. The verb has to be two words because you need to conjugate this burn, and you can't conjugate it if it's one word. So that's why the verb form is two words, the noun form is one. And you recover from something. So notice that preposition. That preposition is there is because recover. I'm recovering from burnout. I'm recovering from relationship burnout. You can also recover from an injury, of course. I'm recovering from an arm injury. Okay. So you could say that as well. And just as you can recover from burnout in your job, so this is the source of the burnout. So you could replace this. You could replace job with in your relationship. You can also recover from it, burnout, in your relationship. So you wouldn't replace it here because it's obviously right there, but it's just a possibility grammatically if there were nothing else. Or move on from a situation that's no longer healthy for you. So notice here, our phrasal verb is move on. On is part of it because you may see this verb and then as you're reading, think that the article is talking about movement. So move, but it's actually move on, move on. Move on is when, well, let's say you were a couple for 10 years and then you break up. You're no longer a couple. So you're on your own. If you move on, it means that you rebuild your life. You start dating someone, you start seeing someone, you forgive the person, you forget about the person, or you change your relationship with that person. So that would represent move on. Let's review this example. She left you 6 months ago. You need to move on. This could be something you say to your friend to give them a little tough love. Tough love meaning that you're being direct and blunt with them. Maybe they don't want to hear this because you need to move on. You need to stop complaining, stop blaming, stop being negative, depressed, go out, try new things, see new people, for example. You need to move on. Now, she left you 6 months ago. This represents she ended the relationship with you. She left you. So she didn't just say bye. She permanently ended the relationship. She left you 6 months ago. You need to move on. Or you can say, in a non-relationship context, maybe you're saying to your friend, oh, it sucks that your friend stole money from you, but you need to let it go. You need to let it go. So let it being the fact that your friend, someone you trusted, stole money from you, which is a serious issue, right? But you need to let it go. So you need to release that. Stop talking about it. Stop complaining about it. Stop picturing your revenge against your friend. Just move on, find a new friend, and enjoy your life. You need to let it go. So notice, move on. If you wanted to include the something, you would say you need to move on from her, because you move on from someone or something. You need to move on from her, but you need to let it go. So it being the situation. But with this one, if you want to specify the situation, you would say from her or from whatever the negative situation is. So this case, or move on from a situation. So notice, from a situation that's no longer healthy for you. Often, this is great to say no longer healthy for you. One phrase that I hear a lot, maybe you've even heard it, from a situation that's no longer serving you. So you can move on from a job, a friendship, a relationship that's no longer serving you. Meaning serving in the sense of providing you with what you need. In a relationship, it might be the emotional support. In a workplace, it might be the financial support. So whatever you need, that's no longer serving you, period. Because this is healthy for you. Let's keep reading. Recognizing that the relationship has gotten to a state of burnout is the first step. So notice here, this begins in a gerund, which is our verb in ing. So doing something is the first step. Maybe in a different context, if you're preparing for your IELTS, you could say understanding the format of the exam is your first step. That's a great thing because you need to understand the sections and the style in order to fully prepare. So your gerund verb, understanding the format of the exam is your first step. This makes it possessive. This first step belongs to the person. You could also say the first step is the first step. And then subsequently, you could say second step, or you could say next step as well. Have an honest heart-to-heart about the stressors and frustrations you feel. So this is interesting. Stressor. Do you know what this means? Because you're probably familiar with stress. A stressor is what causes the stress. So you can say that working with Ashley, we'll just name someone specific, poor Ashley. Working with Ashley is stressful, to be stressful. Working with Ashley causes me stress. Working with Ashley is a stressor, a stressor. So it's a something. Stressor is a noun. It's a something. And it means that it causes you stress. So those are all different ways of saying it. And notice this OR is pronounced as stressor, stressor. And then in the plural, stressors, stressors. So I wrote those different sentence structures. They all mean the same thing. It's just grammatically they're different. But having this range in your vocabulary is important because sometimes the sentence structure requires a noun. And now you know that stressor is the noun. Working with Ashley is a stressor, is stressful. Working with Ashley, I'll put this here so you understand it, is stressful. Causes me stress, because your gerund sentence, working with Ashley, this, it, third person singular, which is why we have this S, causes me stress, or is a stressor. Because there's only one, and this is a noun, so you need an article. So now you have 3 different options, and poor Ashley, hopefully there's something else you can replace this with other than a person. It can certainly be a something as well. Driving in traffic or commuting for 2 hours is stressful, causes me stress, is a stressor. And that's definitely probably a better example than saying working with Ashley, but probably realistic. There's an Ashley in your life, I'm sure. Now let's get back to this heart to heart. Can you imagine what this means, or do you know what this means? Remember, to understand vocabulary, look to context. So have an honest heart to heart about the stressors, the things that cause you stress, and frustrations you feel. And this is with your partner, because this is the context of couples. So with your partner, you should have an honest heart to heart. A heart to heart represents a conversation. Okay. So often it will be a honest heart to heart conversation, because notice this right here, this is actually an adjective. They didn't include the noun because it's obvious. Native speakers know it without context. Our minds will fill in the word conversation when we hear this, but it's have a conversation. What type of conversation? An honest conversation. Notice we have an because honest starts with a vowel sound, and you add an to a vowel sound. It isn't about spelling, it's about pronunciation. And that's why we have an, because it's a vowel sound. So I'll highlight that so you remember it. So have an honest conversation. Well, what type of honest conversation? A heart to heart. Your emotions, generally, we say they come from your heart. So a heart-to-heart conversation is a conversation where you share your true feelings, your true emotions, how you're truly feeling, things that you don't easily share with other people because they make you vulnerable. So that's what a heart-to-heart conversation is. Let's keep going. Instead of blaming the other person, so notice instead of, and then you have your verb in ing. Instead of doing something, instead of blaming the other person, if you blame someone, you say, it's your fault I'm stressed out. Or it's your fault our relationship isn't the best. Something like that. Instead of blaming the other person, take accountability for your role in the current state of your relationship. So you say, I understand that it's also my fault, or I can see how I contributed to the current state of our relationship. That's how you would take accountability for your role. Set aside some time each week. So if you set aside some time, it means you allocate that time for a specific purpose. And you can, even in a business context, we generally put that in our calendars. So you would, if someone, your boss or a client says, can you set aside some time? You would put it in your calendar so it's there. So another word would be allocate. And notice in this case, it's in the imperative form. It's telling you to do it because the imperative, let me just write that, allocate. The imperative is your base verb. Now this is a phrasal verb, to set aside some time. So allocate some time. You can also think of it as reserve for a specific purpose, because You can use set aside in another context. Let's say you just made a big plate of cookies and everyone in your household starts eating the cookies. Whoever made the cookies might say, oh, no, stop eating. We need to set aside some of the cookies for the party tomorrow or for the guests or whatever it might be. So we need to reserve. So in that case, it's not necessarily allocate. It's we need to take some of those cookies and save them, reserve them. And then the specific purpose is we're having guests tomorrow and those cookies are for them. And in this case, it's also in the imperative, all three, because it's an instruction. Set aside some time each week to check in with your partner and keep the lines of communication open. Now, you could just say keep the communication open. Adding the lines of doesn't add much. It's just an alternative. The lines of communication, it represents open communication. So in a business context, your boss may have this policy where every Monday morning you meet. And that's to make sure people are communicating, to keep the lines of communication open. But it simply means keep the communication open. So you could easily remove it and there would be no difference in meaning. And here, let's review to check in with. So notice the phrasal verb is check in. So check is your verb that you conjugate. But when you have the noun, in this case, your partner, your significant other, your husband, your wife, whatever it might be, boyfriend, girlfriend, you use with. Now, it simply means you communicate with that person, but it's for a specific purpose. So maybe you ask them, oh, hey, how's your stress level at work? Or, oh, hey, how are you feeling about how we divide the chores at home? So you communicate with them for a specific purpose. And then keep the lines of communication open. That just sounds more general. So to communicate about anything and then to check in means to communicate for a specific purpose. Let's keep going. Prioritizing couple time is crucial for preventing burnout. So notice this is your gerund statement, just like we reviewed before. It's just to make a general statement, prioritizing couple time. So couple time represents time you spend together as a couple. So as husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, not as mother or accountant or toilet scrubber, all the other things. It's as husband and wife. That's couple time. So prioritizing couple time is crucial, extremely important for preventing burnout. So crucial for, and then your verb in ing for preventing burnout. Burnout is a something. Protect this time. This time means your couple time. Protect this time you spend as a couple. Protect this time and schedule it just as you would an important appointment or work meeting. So how would you schedule an important appointment or work meeting? Well, you would put it in your calendar. So maybe you would set aside some time. You put it in your calendar and you show up, you go to the meeting because it's a requirement. So they're saying to treat it like it's a requirement. This time, the couple time. And that's the end of the article. So what I'll do is I'll read the article from start to finish and you can focus on my pronunciation. Are you experiencing relationship burnout? What to do next? Do you walk around resenting your partner? Do you dread coming home from work as much as, if not more than, going to work? Are you too tired for date night? When you think of the future, does it feel like it's just going to be more of the same? Those can all be signs of relationship burnout, and it's possible you've got it. Most therapists deal with patients who are either burned out or burning out, exhausted, stressed, feeling cynical, and even indifferent. As a couples therapist, I'm increasingly seeing clients who are experiencing relationship burnout. When I talk to couples, many don't understand that they can get burned out from their relationships the same as they can from their jobs. And just as you can recover from burnout in your job, you can also recover from it in your relationship or move on from a situation that's no longer healthy for you. Recognizing that the relationship has gotten to a state of burnout is the first step. Have an honest heart-to-heart about the stressors and frustrations you feel. Instead of blaming the other person, take accountability for your role in the current state of your relationship. Set aside some time each week to check in with your partner and keep the lines of communication open. Prioritizing couple time is crucial for preventing burnout. Protect this time and schedule it just as you would an important appointment or work meeting.
Do you want to keep learning English with the news? If you do, put yes, 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 put yes, yes, yes in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And here's another lesson I know you'll love. Watch it now.